On yesterday, we talked about why does a guy give minimum effort? Why is it that he does that? And if you haven't seen that video, I would like for you to go back and watch the video because I did give some pertinent information. Now, today, we're going to talk about part two. So yesterday's video was more about what you could do, what you as a female could do what you could do to change the dynamics of what you're doing, the dynamics of the relationship. Today is more about him, okay? Because a lot of times guys give minimal effort for different reasons. So what we're going to do is discuss those reasons. And if you see these reasons, then it might be a situation where you need to say, I'm done. Because what happens is you cannot control what other people do. And I'm going to start this off by saying, y'all, as much as we want to, you cannot change anyone. You cannot change anyone. What you can do, though, you can influence change. You can inspire change, but you can't change anybody. A grown person is not going to change unless they choose to. Now, you can force somebody to change temporarily if you got a gun to their head, but that change doesn't mean that it's going to be lasting. So why is that important? Because what we're going to talk about now is here's what we need to do, what you need to do when a guy is giving you minimal effort, when a guy is minimum waging you. Here's the other part of what's possibly going on with him. So as I said before, I gave you the other part yesterday. So we're going to keep this one brief, short, to the point. But y'all, because you know, sometimes I get to rambling, I get to talking, I get excited about this thing we're doing, about helping people, and I want to make sure. All right. So let's get into the 4 reasons why a guy might minimum wage you. Let me tell you how I came up with that minimum wage you. Hey, the minimum wage you is simply a term that was derived because when somebody only gives you minimum effort, when they only call you just enough, when they only text you just enough to keep you interested, they only conversate with you or communicate with you just enough. And so because that's the case, they are minimum waging you. They're giving you just enough. So here's the other part. Number 1, let's get into the reasons why. And this is important. A lot of times guys give minimum effort because they're simply lazy. Now, what I mean by lazy, and what I'm lazy mentally, lazy emotionally, and the way that you know a person is lazy, because at the beginning of a relationship, a guy is going to put his best foot forward. He is going to give you everything. At the height of his expenditure, his performance will be at the beginning. And the reason why that is important is because if he's giving you everything in the beginning, or if he's not giving you anything, this is an indication of what's going to go on later. I often say this: if you want to know if a person is lazy emotionally, mentally, and sometimes even physically, look at their life. You know, my business partner and my coach, my cohort, we coach together on relationships. Milani Shani says, look at the proof of life. Look at proof of life. Proof of life tells you everything. Look at your life. Look at the person's life. What are they achieving? What are they doing? Look at other areas of the person's life, and are they aggressive in those areas? Are they lazy in those areas? But what we do is we'll look at other areas in somebody's life, and what we'll do is we'll dismiss it. You say, well, you know, they don't really like their job, so they won't work hard. Well, they don't, they're not aggressive in, you know, the things that their goals, their dreams. Well, they don't want to do that. No big deal. And so y'all, but what you don't understand is that gives you an indication of how they actually are. Their drive, the things they do. Yo, and so if their proof of life tells you things about them and you want to discard it, don't get mad when you don't get what it is you want to get. It's that simple. So I tell people, look at their life. Look at a person's life, and their life will tell you if they're lazy. Because some guys are just lazy. They're lazy in every area of their life. And so if they're not willing to put forth, listen to me carefully. If a guy is not willing to put forth the effort for you, towards you at the beginning, because as I said yesterday, at the beginning, that's going to be the height of his involvement. Because at the beginning, we want to put our best foot forward. You want to create that great impression. You want to be like, all right, I want to make it seem like, look, that I like you. Here's the things. Lazy dudes, right, Angela? Lazy dudes, like, if he's lazy in other areas of his life, he's going to be lazy as it pertains to you. Why do we think that the rules don't apply to us? They do. The truth is, you know what you say. I'm going to be the one to change him. I got that good. That good is going to change him. Once he gets a piece of this, nah, not really. He going to just take the good and still be lazy. Number two, and this is a big one, y'all. Why guys minimum wage you? Why they give minimum effort is because, I wrote this down, he is used to being mothered. Now, what do I mean by he's used to being mothered? Now, you come across some guys who lack drive, who lack ambition, but they will do what they're told to do. Just like when their mother told them or their grandmother told them what to do. Y'all, some guys out there are looking for a mother figure or a grandmother figure. And you know it because they'll do if you tell them, hey, would you cut my grass? Okay, I'll do that. Okay, would you fix my car? Okay, I'll do that. Okay, but they don't take initiative. What they are is they're looking to you to lead them. Now, if that's the kind of guy that you want, then that might be the kind of guy you should get. But over time, I promise you, you will be more disturbed, more bothered by that than if you were to take a guy who is like, so you look for the guys that are looking to be mothered. These are guys who, you remind them of their mother. Now, there's a difference. When a person says, you remind me of my mother, you remind me of my grandmother, but they look at your qualities and say, I like those qualities, but they're not waiting on you to lead them. They're not waiting on you to make the decisions. If you weren't around, guys, if you get in a relationship with the guy, and he's waiting on you to tell him what to do. You ever been out with somebody and they say stuff like this? Well, where you want to go? I don't know. Well, where you want to go? And they ask you, well, what you want to do? I don't know. And they don't ever want to make a decision. They want you to make a decision. What that says is either they don't feel comfortable about their decision making, or they want to be mothered. They want somebody to lead them. And if that's the kind of guy that you want, then okay, cool. Then that's the kind of guy that you'll get. But I just want you to understand that. Understand it when you see it. Understand it when you spot it. Because it's not that some guys don't want to make decisions because they're not used to being in the decision-making role. But that's not that they want to be mothered. They're not looking for a mother figure. But you know how you can determine if a guy wants a mother figure. How you can determine that? Because he doesn't move unless you give the okay. He doesn't do anything unless you suggest it, always. I'm not talking about once in a while, but I'm talking about always. And y'all, don't discredit it. Don't look at it and say, he good, I'll make the decision. I'm trying to tell you, that's why a lot of times guys give minimal effort, because they're so used to the woman taking the lead, just like their mother did, like their grandmother did, and they don't know any other way. All right? Number 3, why guys give minimum effort. Why do they minimum wage you? It's simply this. They're just not into you as much as they're saying. They're just not into you as much as you think they are. And there was a book out, He's Just Not That Into You, or they made it into a movie. And the truth is many times a guy will give you just enough to get you on the hook. It's kind of like a person throwing their fishing rod out there, and they get a little tug and they tug back a little bit. Get a little tug and they tug back. So, but he does that because of this. And I don't think ladies really know this. I don't think ladies really know that guys do things. They make decisions. They date people because they don't want to be lonely either. Nobody wants to be lonely. Guys or ladies, nobody wants to be lonely. So a lot of decisions he might make spending time is because he doesn't want to be lonely. And what I'm telling you is you have to be cognizant of that, and you have to watch it. How do you know? Because he's doing just enough to keep you on the hook. I said yesterday, one of the most important things is you require that a guy earns it. Make him earn it. Make him work for it. Make him, I don't care whether it's cutting your grass or taking you out to eat or creating a standard that he has to live by, because standard he has to operate by. Because if you don't create the standard, we as men will always fall below the standard. That's just who we are. That's what we do. And it's not a conscious thing. We don't consciously say, I'm going to fall below your standard today. No, what it is you haven't set the standard. You haven't said, here's what I require in this relationship. Here's what I require to be with me. And because I've never told you what I require to be with me, then I'm going to fall below the standard, y'all. It's just that simple. And so what women do, because they like guys, because y'all like us, what you do is you will allow us to fall below the standard. And then once we've fallen below the standard so many times, you condition us, or you've allowed us to condition ourselves to continue doing the exact same things we've been doing. And so you're not going to condition a new behavior with an old behavior. And so when I do leadership trainings, a lot of times what I say is this. I tell leaders, I say, okay, if the culture of the business, they've been doing things a certain way for a long time. The only way you change that is you have to change your behavior. You don't change culture or conditioning. If you conditioned us not to open the door for you, you ain't gonna we're not just gonna start opening the door for you because you think it. That's not the way it is. You have to create a standard with a new behavior. A new behavior creates a new standard, and the new behavior has to come from you. All right? It's not going to come from osmosis of, you just conjuring it up in your head thinking that, hey, he should just open the door for me. No, you have to create that standard. You have to require that. And if you don't require, and the truth is, if you don't require it, if you require it and he's unwilling to do it, then maybe he's not the one for you. And that's the part I want to get across. Look, that's just the way that works. And the last thing, and I'm going to be short today, the last thing why guys do minimum effort is because, and I wrote it down, because it keeps you engaged. And sometimes he just wants to keep you engaged so that he knows he can always call you. He knows that he can always go to you. So what he'll do, you ever been around a guy? You ever had a guy where he'll text you every so often? Every so often, he'll text you every so often. Now, Yvette says, so women have to train a man to be a man. No, Yvette, you don't have to train a man to be a man. What you have to do is train a man, just like a man has to train a woman to love you in a certain way. So I got to address this because you put it out there. You said, so I hear women say, I don't want to train a man. And I say, wait a minute. Wait a minute. That's ridiculous. Because here's the thing, you train your children, and what I mean by train, if you do not educate a person, or, but lack of a better word, train them on how to treat you, how will they ever know? So what we do is we make the terrible assumption that he should know because he's a man, that she should know because he's a man. The truth is all of us have behaviors. We all come with a certain perspective. We all come because we have a certain amount of experiences. And my experiences may not be like the other men that you've been to. So if you don't train me or teach me how to love you, how will I ever know? And so that's the biggest misconception in relationships. People say, I don't want to train a man. I ain't going to train a man to be a man. Well, what the hell is that? And then if he doesn't know how to treat you, if he doesn't know how to, because every woman, every relationship is different. And because every relationship is different, because the next person, if I were to not be with my wife and be with somebody else, I would have to educate and train this woman on how I want to be loved. That's just like you have to do the same thing. If we are unwilling to train the people who we meet on how to love us, how will they ever know? They're not going to know. If you don't train him that you want your door open, how will he know? If you don't train him on this is how I want to make you to make love with me, to me, how will he know? Because that is ludicrous. We make the assumption that the man should know. No, yes, you have to train him. You have to educate him. And he has to do the same thing to you. Because y'all, it's kind of like if you make the assumption that every woman is the same. So after I get in this relationship, they like the same thing. You can be with one woman and she likes sexually this. But then the next woman, she's like, I don't like that. And until she's willing to educate you, train you on how to love her, you're going to be in the dark. That doesn't make sense. So what I'm simply saying is, yes, you have to train them. You have to be willing to, because we're all different. We all come from different backgrounds. We all come from different circumstances, different experiences. We all have different wisdom. And the truth is, if we are unwilling to educate and train the people that we're with, all right, then they'll never know. They'll never know. Just remember this. Lack of communication always leads to miscommunication. If you're unwilling to communicate about the things you want in the relationships and the things that you don't want, they're ultimately going to miscommunicate and give you the very thing that you don't want because you've never shown them. And so I just wanted to say that. Raphael says, unlearn old bad behavior and set personal standards for myself, regardless of what is allowed. I just do my best for me and for me, not her, and I give what I want to return. I like that. I give what I want to return. The law of reciprocity works, y'all. You give that what you want in return. So you gotta be willing, law. You gotta be willing. And the last thing I says is because people want to keep you engaged a lot of times when they give minimal effort. Require them to do more. Not just to keep me engaged, require more. If you require more, you know one or two things. You know either the person is willing to give it, okay? And they're willing to earn it, because that's what men do. We earn it. We believe that if we work for it, it has value. If I don't work for it, it does not have value. I will ultimately devalue it. So I gotta work for it. So don't allow it to keep you engaged. Men too. Men, same thing. Same thing. That's it. That's my time, y'all. That's my time on this Friday afternoon. And thank you for joining me. All right. And until Monday, y'all have a great, great weekend. I heard it's supposed to be super duper hot. Hey, stay hydrated and stay inside and wear your mask no matter where you go, y'all. This thing is real out here in the field. For real, I'm Ken Canion, the host from the Grand Canyon Studios, y'all. I did too. I might start doing this more often. I might do Monday, Wednesday, Friday from my regular studio. Not my regular, my desk. And then the other one for the Grand Canyon Studios. I don't know. I just like the color contrast. All right, y'all. I appreciate y'all. Love and many blessings to you. I appreciate you, my brother. Y'all have a great, great day, a great weekend. I'm Ken Canion, and I am out.